Hello and welcome to Box, the football talk show brought to you by Sportology TV with myself, Ali Drew. On the last episode this week, we were joined by Flex from the United Stand, who was very happy joining us after the Manchester derby and Manchester United's win. Also, they reached 1 million subscribers, so he was in a very good place. On this episode, we have a guest who needs no introduction. He's been on the show before. He is Mr. Arsenal. It is Mr. DT. DT, how are you?
I'm all right. Still in lockdown. Getting on with it. Slight light at the end of the tunnel, though. That's the main thing. The sun started shining as well, which always lifts the mood. And yeah. Apart from that, nothing else has changed. Arsenal are still awful. And I've kind of got used to that at the moment. So, yeah, I'm concentrating on other things. Just, yeah, let's do a whole show and not talk about Arsenal, please.
Yeah, you are very, very busy. Obviously, you've got everything to do with Arsenal going on, but you've also got DTFC, so your football team. And just talk to me about that. Every time I see a post, you're winning. You're absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, we're unbeaten. We've won every game this season. 8 games in the league, 47 goals, only 4 conceded. Smashing teams. Biggest victory was 11-0. And this is actual non-league football. This is, the part of the journey that we're going on when we have to start at the bottom end of the ladder and then work our way up. And people were like, this is going to be the real test where get to see what you're all about. And we're loving it. We love it. But lo and behold, our season got cancelled today of all days. So, yeah, they've the exact wording for it is curtailed. And I think the reasoning behind that and not null and void is that you get to keep your statistics. So goals scored, players get to keep their goals and assists and that kind of stuff. And they'll be able to carry that on. It's small consolation for most of the players because we were heading for a league title in our first season and that's what we wanted. But yeah, we've got a cup competition coming up which the league have sorted out to deal with all the teams there. The biggest issue was that a lot of teams didn't have pitches after May because some of them share sports facilities where once it gets to about May time, cricket takes over. So there's no football pitches anymore. So we kind of expected it, but it's a bit of a kick in the teeth when you've worked so hard for so many months to do what we've done. And it's definitely an experience. And I think it stands us in good stead, though, because within our first season, we've had to endure all of this. Yeah, it can't get much worse.
Because what happens now then? So obviously, it's been cancelled for this season. Is it going to start up as normal again last season? What's the sort of process now?
Well, the process is to get some football going from April, which we're allowed to do. Get a couple of months of football in, which is why we're doing the cup competitions. We've also been brought into an invitational cup, which I can't speak too much on at the moment, but that's a very big thing for us because of the level that it's going to be. So I'm effectively going to be in 2 cup competitions and I'm going to have to rotate the squads and the sides around. And I want both of them. Most teams are just going for 1 competition and that's enough. I'm like, no, 2. And I've also got till the end of March to sign new players. So I'm already on the phone. I'm like the agent that's like ringing up players that I know that are not got any football for the next few months and they're dying to play. And I'm like, right, let's do a loan deal. Come and join me for a couple of months. Oh, I'm like, it's like Barry Fry of Peterborough. If you ever see a video of him wheeling and dealing, getting them in his office and saying, right, I'll give you goal scoring bonus, packet of crisps. And so, yeah, it's all fun, but it's really time consuming. It's really busy just because my phone just hasn't stopped. It's just constant. I've got committee members, players, and we're in the process of building for next season already because we've got a reserve team in place. We've got an academy team for under 18s. And then we are going to have a women's team as well. But we're putting the women's team on hold for a year just to start establishing a foothold for the next season. And then we can look to move into that. So, but ultimately what we want is just a full season where we can just get on with things and play football, and touch wood by the guidelines and what they say. Not that I believe Boris, because he's been saying it's going to go back to normal for a year. But the world, shall we say, or this country should be going back to normal in June. We should be all out partying, and, you know, the Euros are on, and I'm just thinking beer gardens, football, summer, just, don't even get me started. But yeah, if that does happen and it goes back to normal, then we'll go back pre-season July, and the season start in August, and it will just run like its normal course. But yeah, let's just hope we go back to normal first.
Hope so. Yeah, because there's talk that obviously towards the end of this season for the Premier League, fans might be allowed back for the last couple of games this season, maybe. I mean, it may not happen. We just have our fingers crossed. But how excited are you to get fans back to the games and just normality?
Oh, do you know what I heard? I think it was last week. Someone said that the Premier League are looking to move the final week of the season back by a further week, so that they get 2 rounds of fixtures with fans in the stadium. And I know their logic behind it, because at the moment they were saying final game of the season, but a lot of teams are saying, well, hold on, how's that fair if you're away from home? Because, you know, let's say final game of the season, you've got a team fighting for a Champions League place, Europa League place, relegation. They then get the advantage of having 10,000 of their fans in the stadium, and a team that's fighting with them or away from home, and they've got no one. So I understand. So the idea behind it is to give 2 weekends of fixtures, which means everybody gets fans in the stadium. I think it's more of a legal argument than anything, because the Premier League and whatnot don't really want that on their door of saying, well, that's not really fair. How can you play the whole season bar a 2-week window when we had a couple of thousand fans back in the stadium, you know, behind closed doors, and all of a sudden final game of the season, the most important part of the calendar, where, you know, some teams can get relegated, like the implications of that, and Europe, and what kind of money they would, you know, get out of it. Yeah, I get it. But going back into stadiums, it's going to be weird. It will. Do you know what? It will be weird. It's been a year last week since my last game against West Ham at the Emirates. And, you know, we're playing out in Greece tonight for the Europa League. And I'm sitting here now, no offense, that I'm sitting there talking to you, but I should be in Greece.
I mean, this is fun, but it's not the same.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm going to tread carefully how I word that. But do you know what I mean? I should be like, it's like Greece, the weather's nice. It's like a beautiful country. I should be there. And yeah, come on. And it's just, yeah, but it will feel weird. It will feel weird just going back in the stadium. How, you know, how will it feel? How different will it be? And that's the thing. And I was down to, I got selected to go to a game when fans were allowed back in the stadium a few months ago, and it was Southampton at home. And then the day before the game, we went back into another lockdown, and fans were told you can't go. So I was like, you know, Charlie, that I've got that golden ticket, but then someone nicked it. And it was like, how can you do that to me? You've just got my hopes up for the last few days. I'm like, yes, I'm going back to the Emirates. I can't wait. I'm going to sing. I'm going to just get that experience. I don't care if there was only 2,000 people there. I just wanted to go through the turnstiles again. I just wanted to smell the air. Like, it might sound weird saying that, but when you go to football matches, there's just a distinct vibe about it. The smell, just, you know, from the food stalls and just everything. It's just, oh man, yeah, I can't wait. You got me getting all excited.
We don't want to get too excited because we just don't know what could change. That's the problem.
Yeah, we'll get to May time, last game of the season, and Boris will be like, right, lockdown again, unlucky. And then I'll be like, cheers, Boris. Thanks a lot.
Hard. Yeah, because I bet in sort of the start of last year, I bet you never, if someone said to you, you're not going to go to a game now for a year, over a year, it just wouldn't, you wouldn't even comprehend it.
No, absolutely no chance. I still remember when the first talk of coronavirus came out and everyone was saying about what's going on in China and everything else. And that's like, yeah, whatever. It's in China. It don't bother us, does it? All right, it's sad what's going on, but yeah, it ain't going to come over here. And if it does, it's going to affect us. And then as the months kind of went on towards March, you were like, this is sounding a bit more serious. And I remember the first time there was a reported case in the UK of coronavirus, and it was like, oh, someone in the UK's got it. Okay, right, we'll still carry on. And then more and more and more. And then we started seeing like the images of Italy, I think it was first, and how catastrophic it was, and like what we were seeing. I was like, wow, like this is bad actually. This ain't great. And then it kind of finally hit home with us when we had a game cancelled against Manchester City. Ironically, the week after we came back from Greece, and the owner of Olympiacos was contracted with coronavirus. And because we'd been in close proximity to him, they were saying, yeah, can't risk the game. And then I think 2 days after that, Mikel Arteta had coronavirus. And at that point, I was like, that's it, done. That's it. You can't carry on. It's finished. So here we are a year later, still doing the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully things will change soon. But we do need to get on to talking about Arsenal's season and where they're currently at right now. So they are 10th in the table. Last time we spoke to you, I think it was we were a bit of a lucky charm for you. I think every time you've been on the show, Arsenal have actually won the game straight after, haven't they? So just talk to me about their sort of recent performances. The last game against Burnley, obviously, was that draw, 1-1 draw. Just talk to me about your feelings on Arsenal at the moment.
I can see the direction that we're going in. 10th place is not acceptable by Arsenal's level. And but I said on the final season, Arsene Wenger was leaving. I was doing an interview with Robbie, and I think it was Man City away. And I said that we need to lower our expectations as fans for the next 5-6 years, because it's going to take around that period of time to repair the mess that we've been left in. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, Robbie, it's not like 1 or 2 years of bad results and neglect. It's more than a decade since we've moved to the Emirates, when we're selling, our best players and bringing in players that are just not up to that level. And then we've been putting players on Champions League money, but we've been getting Europa League football. And it's just the balance. There was a tipping point and it had to happen. And I'm seeing, the start of what we're trying to rebuild under Mikel. And he's been there just over a year. He's had 3 CEOs. The people have been leaving left, right, and centre, from directors of football, dealing with the organisations, physios, coaches. And then there's obviously been a problem with the squad because it was unbalanced. There was players on ridiculous wages. There was moles in the camp. It was just so awful. But he slowly but surely started to get them out bit by bit. And he makes mistakes. Don't get me wrong. He does make mistakes. He's still learning. But I can now start to see where he wants to project this team and where we want to go. And now we've started to shave the squad down. Players like Mesut Ozil's gone, and Kolasinac and Socrates and Mustafi, and all of these players that were part of that rotten culture. Those 4 players that I mentioned there, they were on a combined wage of more than £700,000 a week. Yet they didn't contribute anything to Arsenal going forward and becoming a team that can mount challenges and everything else. That's a ridiculous amount of wages to be wasting on players that are not contributing. So, yeah, slowly but surely, all the signs at the moment are that there will be more upheaval in the summer, because we already know that there's more players that need to go and we need to get out, and there's more players that we need to get in. So what I want to see for the next, 6 to 8 weeks or whatever of the season's left, I think it's a bit more than that actually, is try and get a consistent run together and start taking our chances in the Premier League and climb up the table a little bit, and then have a good run in the Europa League, ultimately try and win it. Can we? It's going to be difficult. But if you don't hope, then what's the point? When we done our interviews before, it was before the FA Cup games. So we were playing Man City. And I remember you were sitting here and everyone's thinking, can you really beat them? And I was like, if you go into that, you know, with the mindset of, that's Man City, you ain't going to beat them, then what's the point? We beat them. And we get into the final, and we've done the next interview just before that. Because I think I even said to you, I said, get me back on.
Yeah,
I said, come on. I was like, you brought me good luck before that. So get me back on, please. And yeah, same kind of scenario. Everyone was like, yeah, but Chelsea are a better side and everything else. And I said the same thing. Why bother turning up if you don't believe you can win? And we did. So same kind of thing. We just got to start taking our chances, because since Christmas, if you look at the form guide, I think we're in the top 3 or 4 in terms of, you know, the points accumulated and the way we're playing, and we're playing a lot better. We're dominating games as well. Bar a 15-minute spell against Manchester City, we've dominated teams that we've played against. The Man United game that was 0-0, it's kind of 50-50, I'd say. A draw was a fair reflection, but all the other games we've dominated. Burnley, 2 points dropped there. We dominated that game. The game should have been over by half-time. We should have had a penalty. Don't get me started on VAR and the referees, because we should have had a penalty. You look at the Wolves game that we played, completely dominated it, about to go in at half-time 1-0, angry that it wasn't 3 or 4, and then David Luiz gets sent off didn't even do anything. And then that changes the whole complexion of the game. And then Aston Villa, a few days later, we're going to make a stupid mistake in the first 2 minutes and we concede a goal. No teams are opening us up and playing us off the park and beating us. And, you know, before Arteta came in under Emery, we were conceding 25 plus shots a game. Like, it just wasn't sustainable anymore that you could take that many shots and have teams dominate you in that way. Now teams are having an average of like 6 or 7 shots, if that, in a game. We've dropped it right down. So we're dominating games. Even Pep Guardiola, after we played Man City, turned around and said that we're dominating teams in the football we're playing, but we're not taking our chances. Too many missed chances. I spoke to a Man City player, and I'm not going to name him, but I spoke to a Man City player after we played him, and I have a bit of a laugh and a joke with him. And I just said to him, look, well done on the day and everything else. It's a bit of banter between us, and it's gone on for years. But he turned around and said to me, don't be disheartened by the performance and that, because at times you had us chasing shadows. And I was like, really? I goes, from what I was looking, it looked the opposite. You're just trying to like make me feel good, aren't you? And he was like, no. He goes, when you're playing in the game, I'm telling you, we do chase shadows. And he goes, it was a good performance. You're coming along, man. Just stick with it. So, yeah, I just think we're living in a world where everyone's impatient. And you want instant success immediately and everything else. And I think Arsenal are a different model to, you know, teams like Chelsea, for example. You know, if Arteta was manager at Chelsea, he'd be sacked by now.
Yeah.
Fact. You know, then, but that's Abramovich. That's the way that he wants to do things. We want to try and do things differently and build, you know, from the bottom up and restructure everything. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to restructure a club that's, you know, been set in a certain way for over 20 odd years under Arsene Wenger. So it's not just personnel, it's a whole structure, right down to the canteen, right down to the food that the players eat at the training ground. People won't realize just how much goes into it. Physios, coaches, just everything's changing. But I'm giving it time.
Yeah, because Arteta has said he thinks the club's going to explode into life once everything clicks into place. So I guess what you're saying is that he just needs the time. You just almost got to be patient with the up and down performances for now until, I guess, things do click into place.
Yeah, we do. And this is what I said. This season, I can't think of a single game bar Aston Villa at home where a team has battered us. And you have to look at the manager for the result. And on that game, you have to. We were dreadful that day. But apart from that, we've competed in every single game. We're not getting battered. We're not going to places and losing and conceding 4 or 5. That was one of the big things we used to do. We would go to United, Chelsea, City, all these places away from home. And you're like, oh, here we go again. We're going to get absolutely battered, aren't we? And we'd concede 4, 5, 6, even 8, things like that. But we're not. We're being competitive. We're actually showing that there's something to us. But we're nowhere near the finished article. There's players in the team that are not good enough. And Mikel Arteta knows it. He's pretty much come out and said it without coming out and saying it. You know, we can say it. Mikel's not going to go, yeah, he's crap. You know, he's not going to do it. But he knows. He knows.
Yeah, because I think that there's money issues in the club that they've said due to, I guess, the COVID situation, which must have affected every club. But I think Arsenal have said, you know, it's hit them hard. And Arteta doesn't know whether it's going to affect the summer transfer window, whether it's going to affect the amount of money he can spend on players. Do you think it's going to? And also, if it doesn't, maybe, do you think that he's got certain players and positions that he's already got in mind that he wants to bring into the team?
I think that we've already got our shopping list set out. I think that Mikel Arteta knows, but my biggest concern, and this is a concern that Arsenal fans have always had, and it's about Stan Kroenke, and we've always been a team that needs 2 or 3 players and we get 1 or 2. If we need 3 or 4, we get 2 or 3. There always seems to be one player that we need, we don't ultimately get. And it's, you know, before the window, summer window, whenever you want to call it, this season, we knew that we needed a centre-back, a central midfielder and an attacking midfielder. We went out and brought Gabriel as a centre-back, fine. Went out and brought Thomas Partey, fine. But it was very obvious that we wanted Houssem Aouar. Didn't get him. So there's always one position. And what has been our biggest downfall for the first few months of the season is that we didn't have a number 10 and somebody could create the chances that we got. He's ended up having to go in-house, bring in Emil Smith-Rowe. Now he's brought in Martin Odegaard. And all of a sudden, we're creating chances and we're looking good. Oh, there's a surprise. Like we didn't know that beforehand. And that's my biggest concern. Will Mikel be ultimately backed? You know, will we be able to go and shop in Harrods, or will, you know, we'd be told to go to Iceland? No offense to all the mums that like Iceland, but, you know.
It's not the same, is it?
No, it's not the same. That's my biggest concern. It's my biggest concern. And reading between the lines of what Mikel's been saying already, I think a lot is dependent on, you know, where we are with European competition. I think that we can still get a real good level of player if we're in the Europa League. If we get in the Champions League, then I think we're really talking. But if we got no Europe at all, or whatever this third European competition is they're talking about, I have no idea anymore, then I think that we might well be shopping in Iceland. And that's so frustrating because we're just like, back the manager, just back him, give him the tools that he needs. If you give him the tools and he don't succeed, then he's the only person you can blame. You know, it's like Frank Lampard. He was given all the tools to succeed at Chelsea. You need this player, go get him. You need that player, go get him. Didn't work. Bye-bye, out the door. But with Mikel, it always feels like, yeah, we'll give you him, but you can't have him. We'll give you that, but you can't have this. So it's the same thing when we bought Thomas Partey. I was buzzing when we bought him because he's one of the best midfielders. He's unreal. I love him. Listen, it's taken me back to my youth with Dineo and Party Hard and how we remix it to Thomas Partey, and I'm there in my funky house getting my 2-step on and everything else, loving life. And but when that dies down, you sit there and you think, hold on a minute, we still haven't bought a player in the position we need as well. So that is ultimately the catch-22 with Arsenal. And I've had this for years, over a decade with Stan Kroenke. So near, yet so far. That's what it feels like.
Do you think that Arsenal and the fans can sort of prepare for European football? Do you think that it's possible, but do you think that that's where they should be looking to get into the Europa League next year?
we have to, like, I don't want to be in the Europa League in a selfish way, because I'm like, this season it's actually been nice not going to countries that are -15 and -20. And no disrespect to these countries, because some of the ones I've been to are absolutely beautiful, and they're not the kind of places you look at and go, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to go on holiday there this year. But when I've gone there, I've gone, wow, do you know what, it's actually a really nice place. So that's the one good thing that football, you know, in Europe gets you. You get to go to places you would never normally go. But I just want to go back to like normal stadiums like Barcelona and Bayern Munich. I don't know, I've got awful memories before anyone says it. I know we've been slapped in all of those stadiums, but I still want to go to the Nou Camp, and I still want to go to the Allianz Arena and the Bernabeu and all these kind of places. I don't want to go to clubs that are like, you can't pronounce the name. It's like a Wi-Fi password on the back of your computer, and you're just like, what is this? But I understand as well that we probably need it to get a certain level of player in. So there's, you know, two heads to it. You kind of like my selfish head, and then my, yeah, you know what, maybe we need to be in it to, because I'm under the belief that maybe a year out of Europe will do us good as a team to rebuild. But if it means we can't get anyone in, then yeah, I'm going to have to go back to -15 and 20 countries, isn't I?
Arsenal's defence of the FA Cup obviously is over. Arsenal just seem to love the FA Cup, like it's just Arsenal's thing. So is that a disappointment that they've not been able to defend it this year?
I think it's our cup because it's sponsored by the Emirates. Yeah. So
something going on there.
Listen, so yeah, obviously when we win it so much, everyone's like, yeah, it's a fix.
Yeah.
Emirates are paid off the refs or something. But yeah, do you know what? Again, it's a selfish thing. I had to watch the FA Cup final last year on a telly, like a stone throw away from the stadium we were winning it in. Like, it's the first final I've missed in like a couple of decades. Like, and it just felt so surreal and so weird and so not normal. And part of me's going, if we reach another final and there's no fans in the stadium, nah, I don't want that again. I don't want it. So selfishly, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not really. But let someone else have a go this year.
We don't want it this year. We'll wait till this.
We don't want it. And then lo and behold, they said that they may well be using the FA Cup final as a tester for letting fans back in the stadium. So I was like, oh, cheers. Cheers. Can we go back in, please? Can we like help us out? But no, I just think that with everything going on, it may well have been a bit of a hindrance because you know, winning the FA Cup gets you into the Europa League, but winning the Europa League gets you into the Champions League. For me, that's more important. I think top four's gone. I feel that too many, you know, drop points over the last month. Wolves and Aston Villa in particular, not even the Burnley or Man City game, have you know, stopped that from being maybe a possibility because everyone bar Man City's been awful this season. Everyone's dropping points. You know, we beat Burnley, we would have gone 3 points behind Liverpool. And I think 6 points or something off Champions League places. And I'm like, how on earth are we that close to a Champions League place when we've been dreadful this season? Which just shows how dreadful the league in general has been, bar Man City, who have just been very consistent. But yeah, I just think we need to go for the Europa League all out. Have to. Get me Champions League football. I want to hear the anthem again. It's the best thing. I'm telling you, the day we get back in the Champions League and I'm in the stadium and that anthem, I'm singing it. I know there's no words, but I'm just like, I'm not going to do it because that'll get cut into a meme. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Someone will cut that bit into a meme of me doing like the champions. No, just save it. I'll save it for the day that we go back in the Champions League and then I'll do it again.
You mentioned Man City there. Obviously, we have to talk about them and just their consistency. Obviously, not in the Manchester derby last week. That was just typical. That was typical Man United, actually. You know, up and down, losing what would be easy games and then beating Man City. But in general, Man City obviously have been very, very impressive. They've sort of got the title wrapped up now.
Yeah, I think they need 17 more points, and then they've won the league. So, not that I'm counting. Look, if I want any team to win the Premier League other than Arsenal, it'd be Man City, because I don't know any Man City fans, so they can't banter me. I don't have to listen to them all summer. Anybody bar Manchester United, Liverpool, and most definitely Spurs. Although Tottenham did win the league in November, that's what they will have you believe. They actually won it in November and spoke too soon, and then ended up falling like a stone, as they always do when they bottle it. But the consistency that they've shown, like 21 wins in a row, is that's staggering, absolutely staggering at this level of football. But it also made me it put a bit of a smile on my face in some sense, because when I saw their unbeaten run and how they got into their 20s and then they lost, and everyone's saying about how great it was, I was sitting there thinking, wow, how good was Arsenal's 49 games unbeaten? It just makes me think of, do we really appreciate just how good that actually was? 49 games. And even we got robbed from making it 50. So don't get me started on that. That was the biggest robbery in English football, what happened that day. And lo and behold, the referee on that day is the one who's now in charge of the referees, Mike Riley. But yeah, I'm an owner of a football club now, so I've got to be careful what I say about the FA. So yeah, no, but I love referees, really wonderful people. But yeah, that's just, give them credit for what they did, in this tough situation. And I think everyone's shown just how difficult football is since, we've came back, no fans in the stadium. I think the home records is nearly mirroring the away records of teams this season, which shows just how important home fans actually are. Maybe that's why Man City have actually been so good, because they're used to not having fans in the stadium at home.
They're the least affected.
Sorry, yeah, they're used to it. They're like, yeah, it's a normal home game for us. It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. We'll carry on. Sorry to any Man City fans that are watching.
You mentioned Spurs there. Arsenal obviously are playing Spurs on Sunday. Just talk to me about what you're expecting from this game. It's a big game, as always. Arsenal Spurs.
Oh, I've been brought up on this game. I'm somebody that didn't have a choice when I grew up supporting Arsenal. It's something that's passed down through the family, through generations, from my great granddads, and before we were even a North London team, which is obviously why Spurs are so upset, because we, took over North London and dominated it. And they're just the little team in North London, and we're the big boys. Despite, look, I'm not having none of this. North London's white and it's changing because they finished above us for a few years. And go and win the amount of trophies that we have. Go and win the league title in our stadium twice, like we have with you. Dominate us the way that we dominated you. And then I can say North London's white, but absolutely no chance. No chance. The only white in North London would be the red and white of Arsenal. So it would still be Arsenal. It's just, look, I've grown up on this. There's a genuine hatred for Tottenham. I genuinely just don't like anything about them. I don't like their badge. I don't like their stadium. I don't like their kit. I don't like anything about them. And if you go and ask a genuine Tottenham fan, they'll say the same about Arsenal. And I've got no problem with it in any way, shape or form. I've got mates that are Spurs fans, and
don't like them.
There's 365 days in a year, and 2 of those we play each other. So for 363 of those days we're mates. But there's always 2 within a year, and then maybe the odd extra one when there's a cup tie, where we genuinely don't like each other. And the week leading up to the game, we don't talk to each other, and if we do, it's abusive. And that's just part and parcel of it. It's all good. But I'm so looking forward to the game, but I'm not. I hate these games. Do
you enjoy? Obviously, do you enjoy that it's that rivalry, or do you actually not like it?
No, do you know what? I don't know whether it's as I've got older that my heart can't take it as much anymore. it's the old age. And, you know, when I got my watch on and it actually beeps away and tells me that my heart rate's like going through the roof and I'm knocking up over 140 during a match day. And I'm like, yeah, I need to calm down a bit. But yeah, it's like you don't really relax until the full-time whistle's gone in these games. And then ultimately, if you've won, that's when it's just like, oh, like a release. But if you've lost, it's like, right, turn my phone off.
Turn the phone off.
I'm done. I can't be dealing with this. And that's it. So delete all my social media accounts. I'm gone. That's it. But it's just emotionally draining. I think it's different with not going into the stadium at the moment. I'm looking at it differently to what I normally would, because you just prepare for the atmosphere in these games. It's just, I can't describe it. People that haven't been to a North London derby and are not on one or the other side won't get where I'm coming from. People that are watching this and have experienced it will know what I'm on about. And it's the same with Manchester, with Liverpool, with, you know, Celtic, Rangers. You have that right. Only you understand it if you've been brought up on it all your life, and it's just genuine. I'm just worried about no fans in the stadium. It's the only thing that's bugging me about this, because I think we're favourites for the game. I genuinely do. I'm not worried about Gareth Bale, aka Happy Gilmore, returning to form and all this and that. Spurs have beaten us once at the Emirates in the Premier League since we moved to the Emirates in 16 years. Wow. Our record against Spurs at the Emirates is phenomenal. But we've always had fans in the stadium. So there always seems to be a mental block with Spurs at the Emirates. I remember games we've gone 2-0 down at the Emirates against Spurs, and we've still gone and scored 5. But there's fans in the stadium. So when you go 1-0 down or 2-0 down, we become the 12th man. It's the one game where the fans, you don't see them, you know, really getting on the players' backs and like really going at them, because it's not acceptable. They try to push the team. They try to lift the team. And there's just a different feeling about the whole game in general. And when you go a goal behind, you need the fans to be able to pick you up. And that's the only thing that worries me.
Well, hopefully it'll be okay for you.
Please let this interview be good luck, man. It comes in. We have
been before. Before we finish, obviously you're very, very honest, and you say what you think. So I do just want to ask your opinion on the referee situation in the VAR. There's been so much talk of it recently. It is ridiculous. They've announced rule changes that are happening as of the start of next season. They're not happening now. So they've obviously seen a problem with stuff, but they're not actually changing it now. What do you make of it all?
VAR is not the problem. It's the people controlling it, because they're incompetent. They're not good at their job. I said this before VAR came in. I said, what's the point in bringing in technology when the people using it still don't know how to use it correctly? And it's been proven, it's shown over and over. And the funniest bit about it is that I had Barcelona fans tweeting me yesterday, because the Barcelona PSG game was being officiated by English referees.
Okay.
And like PSG get a penalty that wasn't.
They weren't happy.
And then when Barcelona got the penalty, it should have been retaken, because Verratti had encroached inside the D outside the box, and he was the one that actually cleared the ball. Now, the rules state that players cannot enter the box or enter the D. VAR stopped to review it. We've all seen it with our own eyes. It's not even a toenail in the D. He's halfway in the D. He's encroached. He is the next player to touch the ball after Lionel Messi's taken it. So he has gained an unfair advantage by being in a position that he may not have been able to be in if he was in the correct place. It's a retake, but yet they've looked at it and gone, yeah, carry on. And I'm like, what? How? Like a basic rule that's been in English football since I can remember. And it's like VAR is there to help you, That is where it can help you, because a referee is trying to watch a goalkeeper and see what's going on. There's a million one things. So that's where VAR can say, you know what, there's been an encroachment. The guy that cleared it got an unfair advantage because he was 5 yards further ahead than he should have been than everybody else. It's a clear encroachment. What more do you want them to be able to say? But yet they still sit there and go, yeah, carry on. And I had Barcelona fans saying to me when I tweeted out about it, and some of them were saying to me, they were like, now I know why you always moan. I used to think that all you did was moan, and it was like, oh, shut up. Why are you moaning? But now I've experienced it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, you have to put up with that every week. We've had it once and we've had enough. And it's the same. And Arsenal are not the only victim of this. And you've got to think of so many decisions that can have so many implications on teams over the course of the season. You look at Fulham's goal that was disallowed against Spurs. The guy's hands are down the side. Like, he's not moving. He's not doing anything. But you've taken a point away from Fulham. That 1 point is the difference between them currently being in the relegation zone or not. So if at the end of the season they're relegated by goal difference, all they needed was 1 point, you'll go straight back to that one incident and go, look at that. You know, with Arsenal, my God, the amount of times we've been robbed. Burnley, prime example. How is that not a penalty? You're stopping Pepe going past you. Your hand's out here. That is only, like, this was how he was. How is that natural position? Like, is he an aeroplane? Because that's the only way that's a natural position. If you're flying around, he's like this. So how? David Luiz gets sent off against Wolves. Like, how is that? Like, the best bit is when they ask the expert referees, what's your opinion on this? And they always back up people that used to be their mates. It's always going to happen. And they're saying that, oh, if David Luiz had wiped him out, he would have been deemed as him trying to make a tackle, so he would have only got a yellow. And I'm like, hold on a minute. So you're telling me that David Luiz lets his man go because he doesn't want to get sent off or give away a foul. The player running clips David Luiz's leg by millimeters, which had nothing to do. David Luiz has gone like that and let him go. He gets sent off. But if he would have wiped him out, gave away a penalty, yeah, it's fine because he would have only got a yellow. Explain the logic. I genuinely don't know. Like, people don't know anymore. Yeah. Was it Man City against Southampton this week? And the penalty that wasn't given on Phil Foden. How? Explain to me, like, how? Everyone with a pair of eyes, even someone that needs glasses, wouldn't need glasses to see it's a penalty. It's a clear penalty. And what you've basically done is that because Phil Foden attempted to get back up and carry on, is why the foul wasn't actually given. So what you're saying is that if you're honest and try to stay on your feet, you won't be given a foul, even though you have been fouled. But if you just roll around on the floor and scream, then it's fine. We'll give you a penalty. Make up your mind.
Yeah, it's like the common sense has gone from the whole thing. But
they never had common sense to begin with. They never did. Referees, they never had. I can't believe that we're one of only two countries that actually have full-time paid referees, like full-time. Like, this is their job. And they're just so poor at their job. I don't understand it. I really don't. I think there needs to be a complete and utter change within the Referees Association. And it, you know, even the guy that runs them, Mike Riley, like I said, you can go back to that game where we lost our 49-game unbeaten run. Watch that game and you tell me that that was not corruption of the highest order. What happened that game? Even the likes of Rio Ferdinand laugh about it now and just sit there shrugging their shoulders. Like, I spoke to Gary Neville when we done an interview with him off camera, and I said, that game, I said, come on, tell me the truth. And he just looked at me and laughed and went, yeah, we should have had about 3-4 players sent off. Like, I'm sorry. Arsene Wenger was the one that called it out. Arsene Wenger called it out. He said there's a reason why English referees are not at World Cups and stuff. Because they're not good enough. What happened to the last English official that officiated at a World Cup? It was Howard Webb, and he got a final. And he couldn't even remember how many bookings he gave one player. I think he gave one player three yellow cards. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Forgot to send him off. And then there was that tackle by De Jong, which was the studs into the chest, and he never got sent off. So you wonder why. There's just a history of English referees being crap. There you go.
Hopefully they'll. that was very honest. But you don't have a problem with referees. Just
no. I love referees. Love referees. Love referees. Absolutely amazing human beings. Wonderful.
DT, thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and good luck tonight and on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great to be joined there by DT. He is passionate, as always, about his club, Arsenal. But guys, stay tuned. We have lots more guests lined up for the show. Please do what you can to support the channel. Like, subscribe, leave some comments, share, whatever you can. We do really appreciate it. And we will see you next time.